Welcome to episode 16 of Pause for Peace. My name is Jewel Nyheis. I pastor Hillwood Presbyterian Church that gathers here in this beautiful green space, 9 glorious acres of God's good creation, where we come together in order to be renewed and sent out into the world. And I'm so glad you are here today. Here in Middle Tennessee, we are in the midst of the season of spring break. This episode is being released on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2024, and on March 19th, 2024, the spring equinox begins in the Northern Hemisphere. And I hope you had a chance to catch episode 2 of Conversations for Peace when I sat down with Sarah Champion and had a fabulous conversation. Sarah Champion will be leading a forest therapy walk here on this glorious property on Tuesday, March 19th, 2024. It is open to all. It starts at 6:45 up at the front of the church, where we will gather around the bonfire and have a time to just reflect in the glorious nature, use our senses to come back to ourselves, to get ourselves grounded back in this earth, to see what we can see in this beautiful world that shows us this emerging life, this energy of spring that comes again and again and again and again, and will come in the souls of each one of us as well. So in episode 16, it seems appropriate to just spend a little time outside. And here I am in the natural world, and there are natural and man-made sounds around me right now. Because when we take to the great outdoors, we always run the risk of not being able to control what's going on around us. We never can control what's going on around us. But when we venture out into the wild, or even step outside our front door, we never know what we're going to find. And so here we are. Our pause for peace for this week is to come back to ourselves, get centered through our senses in this glorious world. I hope wherever you are, you're getting to bask in a little bit of sunshine. I hope wherever you are feeling warmer temperatures, and that you are beginning to enjoy these emerging signs of life. It's a beautiful gift that nature gives to us to show us this cycle, this perpetual universal cycle. It's like at the fabric of this entire universe is that cycle of living and dying and living again, living and dying and giving and living again. And in that process, we move through the seasons, and we see the way that as we live and emerge and bear fruit in our life, we let go. We never know what the gifts that we bear fruit into the world, what those gifts will bring. And then there is that time of shedding, releasing, letting go, and once again, laying dormant until we again emerge with this beautiful gift of life. It is how it is. So for today, I just invite you to take a few moments. If you are a stressed out dad, if you are a young woman worried about what's going to happen in a couple of weeks, when you may be facing your graduation from college, you've worked so hard and you're about to launch out into the world. If you are somebody who's in a middle passage of life and continuing to grapple with that question about what is really my purpose here? Why am I alive in this world? How can I be a gift in this world? I know who I am. Now, how do I use who I am to be a blessing to others? Whatever your age, whatever your stage, on this day, I invite you to just get yourself quiet. Let's use this beautiful world around us and the amazing senses we have been given as physical beings to experience and to hear the deep truth that God has for us. So I would invite you to begin by taking a moment to get your feet flat on the ground underneath you, whether it is in a floor in a house or on a beautiful green lawn or on a beach in the midst of sand, and maybe you even live somewhere where things are just beginning to thaw. Wherever it is, take a few moments and just get your feet flat on the ground. It's best if you could go barefoot. I'm already ready to do that. And then if you would just draw your attention to your feet. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. This is a good way to go inward. I'm going to remind us that whenever we are paying attention to our senses, to what we hear, to what we see, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch or feel, whenever we are paying attention to our senses, we are once again in the present moment. This is an amazing gift we've been given as these physical beings that can just turn and tune into our senses and be returned to the now. We don't have to worry about the past, and we don't have to wonder about the future. We can just be in this present moment. So in this time when you are grounded, if you will take a few deep breaths from your belly and breathe out and in. Don't breathe up and down. Truly breathe from your belly. And it might help to place the palm of your hand on your belly and then feel it moving out and in as you take in this glorious breath, this air that is all around us, and hopefully is beautiful, clean air all around you. And then just release it. You might want to release a little bit longer than you take in. I'm going to invite us to begin by using our ears to hear whatever might be around us. And if some of these senses are not as developed, or some of your senses perhaps are impaired or blocked in any way, that's okay. We'll use the next sense. You might imagine what you could hear if you just take a little quiet and listen to what is around you, and what you might even hear on this podcast as well, this video cast. Keep on breathing if you will. And if you need to return just to a normal sense of breath, that's okay too. Just be paying attention to what you're hearing. And if that drifts your mind and your heart off into something else because you're hearing the sound of weed eating going on around you, you might be just drifting off to like, what has to happen in my grass? No. Return to this present moment and just notice what you hear. Notice how the sounds around us, whether they be from human-made machines or whether they be from, there were squirrels playing behind me when I came out here, whatever it might be from, notice how it's impacting you inside. So just notice what's going on inside of you as you hear all these different sounds around you in the world. Just notice how it impacts your nervous system. If it calms you or if it puts you on edge, it's one way to pay attention to what we hear. And as we're listening with our ears, I wonder if you might open and pay attention to what you might be smelling around you. You might think, oh, there's no smell around me whatsoever. But as I tune in, take in, I actually can smell a little bit of that grass that has been cut. And I'm sitting here under a glorious tree, and I'm smelling what seems like that that scent of bark. You might even want to smell what is happening on your own skin and what you're noticing about yourself. We did yoga outside a little earlier, so I am noticing that smell when your skin has been a little bit dewy, not the stinky swell of sweat, but just when your skin has been a little bit dewy. Sometimes I notice it's like a saltiness that I can smell on my skin. Whatever it is you're smelling around you right now. And again, notice how it's impacting your nervous system. If it's like putting you on edge, if it's like making you pull away, or if it's just like bringing great calm. I wish I was near lavender right now. Earlier, a few of us were by the peppermint and harvesting some peppermint and actually cultivating peppermint to be able to plant in another area. And so to just be able to even tune in to the scent of the plants that are around you if you are in the natural world, or the scents that are in your home if you are in your home, or in your office, wherever you might be right now. And then because the wind has just kicked up right here, just notice what you're feeling on your skin. And if you're not feeling anything in particular, if you can't feel the breeze in your hair, or if you can't feel the sunshine, I'm feeling sunshine on my back right now. It feels so good. Perhaps you want to just literally take one of your hands and just brush over your arm, or if you have a sore spot in your body anywhere, maybe in your lower back, might feel a little tight from sitting a lot today. And so just notice how it feels if you just touch that with your other hand. We always want to be very careful about areas of our body that we might touch. Some of us have tender spots. Some of us carry trauma in our body, and when somebody gets near, even when we might touch an area near our body, our nervous system might be a little bit on edge. And so just notice how it feels, and do all you can to bring a true calming touch to your own hands, your own arms, your own legs, your own lower back, maybe your feet need a little bit of massaging right now. That might be a beautiful way to just pause for peace right now. And perhaps you want to literally put your tongue out and taste the air. On episode 2 of Conversations for Peace with Sarah Champion, she mentioned that one invitation or prompt she gives in a forest or nature walk is to literally like take in what it tastes from one direction, and then if you turn to another direction and notice if you're tasting on your tongue a different scent in the air. And so if there's any way you can actually tune in to your sense of taste right now, and if nothing else, maybe see if you can taste what flavors are lingering in your own mouth. Or maybe you want to remember a beautiful taste that you enjoyed in the last 24 hours. So the wind is blowing this way. I'm just going to put out my tongue. Notice that taste. And as we continue this pause for peace, I'm going to invite you to open your eyes. And you can look away from the camera, from your device if you are on a video cast. And if you just open your eyes and notice what you see around you, especially if you are outside. You may even want to kind of get down low and look at something you never really notice. I had the opportunity yesterday when I took my dog out for a walk. He stopped at one particular spot and I needed to bend down and pick up after him. And when I did, I suddenly saw what I had been missing. I was standing right by it, but I suddenly saw this brilliant yellow dandelion in full bloom. It wasn't on space that I am tending, so I was a little bit grateful for that. But here's this beautiful dandelion, and then as I looked again, I noticed there was a little bitty honeybee on it, this little bitty bee on the dandelion, kind of doing its thing. It was such a beautiful gift. So what are you seeing as a way you can pause for peace? And then lastly, I want you to tune into what you're feeling internally right now. Notice if you are in the now because you have used your senses to come back to yourself, to be able to pause for a few moments. Pay attention to how your nervous system might be feeling right now. Come back to this episode 16 of Pause for Peace again and again, and be able, especially if it's a day when you're feeling challenged or if it's a day when it's rainy, just come back to it again and tune back in. And I hope you will make an effort to come join us. If you're in the Nashville area, come join us for our forest therapy walk in celebration of the spring equinox on Tuesday, March 19th at 6:45 p.m. Or we are in the season when we are doing our yoga class. Our Wednesday 1 p.m. yoga class is taking place outside on our front lawn on these beautiful days. It is such a restorative gift to be able to pause and be a part of that class. So whatever you do, continue to cultivate this peace in you, even if it is for just a moment. And you can tune into one of your senses in the busyness of your day. And I look forward to catching you again on episode 17 next week. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Enjoy the gift of spring. Blessings.